Hello everybody, my name is Jo Morton-Brown and I am a very proud ambassador for MACS charity. This is another one of our podcasts, and today it's all about how you may be able to ask for help. So if you're feeling really overwhelmed, really sad, or just really anxious or struggling, then this is an episode where together we can try and make sense of it, where you can go and ask for help. I've broken it into 3 simple steps, and it's about empowering you to recognise at what point it is maybe that you need to ask for help. Now, with our mental health, it's very easy to get caught up in just thinking that it's okay to keep going, when actually, whilst some of us can absolutely nail it, for others it can be absolutely exhausting. And what I'd like us to do is to just recognise that life is tough, really tough. And actually, as an ambassador for the charity, I need us to recognise that actually we need to celebrate the moments that we get through that might be really tricky. So if you've got some endotopic tests or some MOCs, and when you come and you actually get through it, I want you to be really proud of yourself, and I want you to start to celebrate those moments, rather than got to keep going, got to keep raising the bar higher and higher and higher. Now, with our mental health, because we have so many different emotions, high, happy, we're ecstatic, we're joyful, low ones, down, unhelpful, we're feeling, not even unhelpful, but we're feeling hopeless and helpless, and as if it's just all a bit too much. Now, the difference between those two is that it's about enjoying those moments when we're up and we're high, but when we're down and we're low, it's about embracing those. Now, we're going to have moments where we're low, okay? It's a fact in life that not every day are we going to be feeling happy. But actually what it's about is it's about recognising at what point does it get too much? Or actually at what point is it where it's like, I can't cope with this. Now, for some people, they feel as if it's very weak to speak about their emotions. But can I tell you something? Actually, it takes great strength and great courage to actually talk about your emotions. However, it's not always that simple. And I understand, working as a counsellor, I understand that for some families, they don't understand mental health, or they don't understand that. And that's not their fault. We have to take a step back, and I have these things called rose-tinted glasses, okay? So stick with me with the metaphor here. Rose-tinted glasses is where you need to put on these glasses. But what they do is they give you a different perception of the world. Now, rose-tinted glasses is quite hard to put on sometimes. But actually, when you put them on, I want you to imagine what would it be like from that person's point of view. What might it be like for them? And it's about recognising how it is for the other person that actually might allow you to feel a certain element of empathy. So when there are people in your family that might not understand mental health, or you're not too sure how they're going to react when you actually let them know that I really could do with some support, or I could really do with having someone to talk to. Now, sometimes what will happen is you'll have this planned and you'll be like, okay. And other times it will just be, you'll be on your knees almost, and it'll be like, I can't keep going. Now that takes great strength to talk about your emotions, as I just said, but actually let's look about how we can plan it if we are getting to that point where actually we need to let some people know. Now, my first step is that I really want you to just stop and think about the outcome. When you've told your family members, when you've told your friends that you're not in a great place right now, what do you want the reaction to be? Because sometimes what can happen is we can easily think that, we're going to tell them, we're going to get a cuddle, and then we're going to be fine. But actually, what do you want from this? Now, what I'd encourage you to consider is, do you want to have, maybe if it's with a family member, do you want to have every week a kind of a hot chocolate night where it's just you and them and you can put the world to rights? So are you looking for quality time, or are you looking at getting more professional help from a counsellor? Actually, are you looking for your school to find out? It's just about, in the back of your mind, what is it that you're looking to achieve that will actually allow you to kind of work towards it. My second step is that I need you to track how you're feeling. Now, what's more likely going to happen is that when you do tell them how you're feeling, their reaction, which I'll come on to in a sec, but what they might actually do is there's going to be loads of questions. Well, how long have you been feeling so unhappy for? And how do you know when you're unhappy? Or what time of the day? Or does your period affect it? So actually, I want us to track our mood, okay? So then when they do ask these questions, guess what? We know them. We know them. So I'd like you to just think about, when did you start feeling as if every day was getting harder and harder? With that, how do you feel? How would you best describe how you feel? Is it full of anger? Is it full of sadness? Is it just no motivation and no ability to really get going or wanting to get out of bed? How do you react when you're really unhappy? Is it that you're tearful? Is it that you're shouty? It's about recognising, at what time of the day is the hardest, or what are your triggers? It's through having these answers that when we do have that conversation, it's about being prepared. And that goes on to step number 3. Be prepared. I want you to plan that time that you're going to speak to them. Now, it might be a little bit too hard to just go and say, hi, I'm not okay and I really need some help right now. But actually, it's about planning it. And you might find it easier to plan a specific date or time that you have to stick to. Or it might be easier for you to send them a message or to write them a letter. But it's about, in your mind, having that plan, because then what you can do is you can take control. Okay, you can take control, and then you know how this is going to be delivered. Now, when it comes to a message, sometimes it just might simply be, can we talk? Or it might be you actually spilling your heart into this message. Now, just as a side note, with the message, don't forget, very much like emails, messengers, can I go with messages? I think that's correct English, messages. Anything where it's you're reading their response, we're never going to kind of get that across in the tone or in the way that we want to. So it's just about realising that the way that you're hoping that they're going to read it might not happen, okay? Now, when it does come to being prepared for that time that you're going to talk to them, also make a list of the things, okay? So you can be prepared and make a bullet point of the things that you'd like to talk about. And it might be you feeling really nervous. Now, nerves, and I'm going to do this in a different podcast, a different month, but nerves are a really good thing. And you might be thinking, what? That's crazy. And I know it sounds it, but actually, nervousness means that you care. So if you're feeling nervous, then that's because you really want this conversation to go well with them. And that's a really important thing. So having nerves, I want you to reframe it. Having nerves is because you care. It's because you want to do well. So when it comes to the crunch of actually letting that person, that family, those friends know how you're feeling, there's one thing that we can't control, and that's we can't control their reaction, okay? We cannot control their reaction. And it's very easy to think that, we want them to scoop us up in their arms and tell us that it's going to be okay. But actually, the truth is that they may be sad themselves. They may be so shocked. They might laugh when you're talking to them because the shock, okay? Now, it's been known that when we hear news that we don't want to hear, even in, I know this sounds really morbid, but in an A&E waiting room, if there's a member of the family that's severely poorly and they've just been told bad news, it has been known to trigger hysteria, this laughing, because it's shock and it's how some people deal with how they're feeling. So when you're telling an adult or friends, they actually might laugh. Now, that's not because they're being nasty, I'm certain. It's most probably because they're upset. They might be upset because they never saw it. They might be upset because they wish that they could fix it. They might be laughing because they can't quite believe that you've been faking that you're okay so well. Just think about it. How easy is it when somebody says, "How are you?" How easy is it to go, "Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm fine." When actually, it's really hard to put into words how we're feeling sometimes. And that's not because you're too weak to speak. That's because maybe there's just so much going on. So it's just about being aware that their reaction is unpredictable. Okay? And that's why when at the back of our mind we know what we're going to say, we're ready for any of their questions, but it's about being with them, okay? And if they don't want to talk about it right now, even though you've planned it, we'll go with that because they are just having to understand and digest that this is the shock news that they've just understood. So if they're not in the position to listen, then don't take offence to that, because that's an issue. They're the ones that are struggling to take in the fact that actually your happiness levels might not always be up there. So it's just about giving them that time and that space, and without being rude, just, "I'll be here when you're ready to talk about it." Because it's from being prepared with the 3 best ways to approach, and that is obviously to think about what is it that you want as an outcome. It's to track how you're feeling, and then it's to be prepared for that consultation, that chat when you have it. And I think that you have to make sure that you're not waiting for the right time. That's why I said when it's be prepared to sometimes just have a date in your mind, because if you're going to wait until you're ready to tell family members how you're truthfully feeling, then actually there might be no good time. And that's the hardest thing sometimes. But what it does do is that it's about you being aware, and hopefully once they understand how it is for you, what can you do to help yourself? Now this is where it gets tricky, okay? And this is why I love these podcasts, because we've got different themes for different episodes. But actually it's about recognizing that once you've had that conversation, what is it that you can do to better support yourself? And that might be checking in with them often. It might be making sure that you're getting outside, having plenty of exercise, eating good food, having sleep. Did you hear me? Sleep. It's so important, but it's one of those things that we can just get so consumed by chores or things to do or being on our phone or reading that actually sometimes it just feels like, oh, it doesn't matter about a late night. But actually these are the things that really make a difference to you and your mental health. So it's really important that you recognise that what is it that you can do. And my takeaway from today's episode is about gratitude. Gratitude is a fantastic thing where we get to appreciate those things, those people, those belongings that we have in our life. Now in life we're taught to be consumers at a very young age. We're taught that if you have the latest mobile, guess what? You'll be happy. If you have the latest laptop or PC, guess what? You'll be happy. Or if you have the latest gaming device, guess what? You'll be happy. So often what happens, certainly as adults, is work, get the amazing car or the lovely house or this and that. And guess what? We're still not happy. Now, gratitude is about pulling it back. Okay, gratitude is about recognizing what is it that you've got to be grateful for in your life. And because we're pulling it back, I want it to be maybe the certain friend that you have. It might be if life's really tough and actually there's not many good things happening, it might be that, you know what, you've got a bed or a roof over your head, or actually that you had dinner last night. It's about reminding yourself of those little things. It might be, I don't know, spring is one of my favourite seasons. It might be that actually spring has sprung and that actually there's daffodils or there's bulbs out there, there's life out there with spring. It's about finding those little things in life, and it's really hard to, because when we're feeling sad, upset, unhappy and low mood, it's really hard to focus on those positives. But actually what I'm asking you to do is to pull it back. And every night before bed, it can be whatever part of the day, in fairness. I always do it before bed because it sets up my mindset for the next day. And that's what they say from research. But I would love for you to, before you go to bed or as soon as you're waking up, it might be when you're brushing your teeth, when you're walking to school, is that I want you to think, what have you got to be grateful for in your life? One thing that you've got to be grateful for. And it might be the fact that you got through the day. It might be actually that you did a test, and even though it was really hard, I got through it and I did it. It might be that actually it's really hard right now, but you know what? I got up and I got dressed and I faced the day. Now, the thing with gratitude is, and this is the beauty of it, is that we're not looking in our past thinking, oh gosh, all of those missed opportunities, and we're not fearful and anxious about the future with the what ifs. Gratitude brings us to this moment where we're present moment aware. We're living in the here and now. We're mindful. So yes, try that takeaway. It's basically once a day, I would like you to think of at least one thing that you've got to be grateful for from that day. And I'm not saying it's easy, but I am saying that with practice, okay? Practice. And the more you do it, this is the funny thing, the more you'll do it, the more you'll realise those little things that you've got to be grateful for. The little things that you've got to be grateful for. So yes, there you have it. I love doing these. I love being with you. And don't forget that if you've ever got any questions, or if you've got any particular ideas that you'd love for me to do for MACS, then get in touch with them. Let them know what you think, let them know what you like, let them know what you didn't like, and then at least we can make sure that these podcasts are exactly what you wanted. Stay you, okay? Stay being brave, stay being beautiful, and stay just being awesome, okay? And believe in yourself. And just never ever forget that it's not weak to speak. And I admire you for finding the courage to really talk about how you're feeling. So yeah, well done to you. I'll see you later. Take care.